You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show. Hello and welcome to The Splash. I'm your host, Jonathan Jackson, and join me at the desk this week is Rhonda Greene, a local children's author here in West Bloomfield and also a public speaker. Rhonda, I want to thank you again for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
Thanks.
So, So, Rhonda, you have been here in the West Bloomfield community for quite a while now. How long is that?
My husband and I, we've lived here for 33 years.
Wow.
Long time. So we have 4 kids. They're grown now, but they went to West Bloomfield schools.
And then from there, now they're on their own?
Yes,
You know,
yeah, they don't live in West Bloomfield.
But you've stayed and you've made a good career for yourself writing, as I said earlier, children's books. And you've wrote 24 nationally published, you mentioned.
Yes.
But how was it writing that first book, getting that first one published? What was that feeling like?
It was very difficult. It's harder than people think to get published. Children's books are usually short, at least picture books that I write, but it's very, very difficult to get published. So I got 220 rejections before I sold my first story. It got rejected 6 times before I sold it, and Simon & Schuster bought it. And I actually sold 2 manuscripts within like a few weeks of each other, and they came out the same time in '97.
Wow. Well, perseverance is a big part of this, having to keep going on. And you said, like you said, you've published your first book, which I believe is, we have it right here in this pile.
Right.
Barnyard Song, was that one?
This was the first story I sold.
Okay.
Right. And then this one sold just a few weeks later, so they came out the same time. So that was kind of unusual for a first-time author for 2 books to come out the same time.
But also better, so more books, more,
This was with Houghton Mifflin, and they're both still in print. So that's kind of unusual, too, because so that'll be 20 years, next year.
Wow.
And a lot of picture books don't stay in print for like over 5 years. So I have had some go out of print, but so I'm real happy that these are. And this one is also in Chinese and Korean. This one is.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah, even better. So your books obviously have an educational aspect to them because there's some. This one is about shapes.
Yeah, and this one I know teachers use quite a bit. This one actually, Michigan has a program for young kids called Michigan Reads. And my book won the first time in 2004. Was the first time they ever had that program.
That's wonderful.
And Jennifer Granholm was the governor then, and she read my book aloud for the Library of the Blind. And so, I traveled across the state doing a lot of presentations that year.
Okay, yeah. You mentioned, you've had a lot of speaking conferences and talking with other, not only just kids, but other authors, encouraging them, to keep on, keep at it. Like you said, 220 manuscripts rejected is, it's got to be a little disheartening, but that perseverance that you kept up,
Right.
How important is that for you, for all these, if any tip you could give the authors today, what else would it be?
I always think the 3 Ps, passion, persistence, and patience to get
I
published.
Like that. Yeah, I like that.
And I still get lots of rejections. I do. So I would
Even
just
with 24
tell them,
nationally published books.
Exactly.
Anybody can still
I
get it.
do. Every story is a new story that has to be competitive with all the other stories out there. And I would just say keep at it. And the main thing that I think is really important is study the kind of books that you want to write.
Yeah, learn from others.
I have like a library at my house of especially picture books, because that's what I like to write the most, and I study them. I read them like a writer and think, why did this story get published? And I try to make my writing that good.
Yeah, and do you probably space out a good amount of time that where you just focus on studying others and writing, because a big part of writing is also studying, like you said, and reading other books. How is it hard to focus sometimes to really get yourself in that mindset when you're doing this?
Not so much for me, because I love it. It's my passion. Yeah. Children's books. I got a degree to be a school librarian, but I never became that when I started a family. So I never thought I would end up as an author, but I love what I do. I love it. That's
wonderful, Rhonda, wonderful. And you said you also have some grandkids now that you read some of your books to. Have they read any of your newest books? I know you have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is one of your newest ones you
mentioned. This was my newest one, yes.
Push, Dig, and Scoop.
Push, Dig, Scoop, a construction counting rhyme. It took 4.5 years. This was my only book that sold at auction, which was very exciting. 4 publishers were bidding on it. And I have an agent at Curtis Brown, and she got the bidding going. So that was very exciting. And so I had to wait for 4.5 years for it finally to come out. And Daniel, I don't have anything to do with the illustrations of my books.
Oh, okay.
And the editors choose the illustrators. But Daniel Kirk was on my wish list. He's done some really well-known books, Chugga Chugga Choo Choo. And so I was very excited that he did the illustrations.
Well, big thank you to Daniel Kirk for doing that for Rhonda. We appreciate it. And that's a very popular one, I know. And also this one is another new one. You said No Pirates Allowed,
yes,
which is a little bit different, I think, than your others. So what is this one about?
This one is really about reading, the treasures of reading.
Okay.
Pirate Pete comes in looking for gold, and he smells, and he's loud, and Library Lou stands up to him, and she kind of tricks him into learning to read. He only knows the letter X. And so he learns to read by the end of the book and says, books be the treasure. And so this...
Because learning is important. It is a treasure. It's important to learn, yeah.
This is probably for up to 2nd or 3rd grade. Most of my books were for a little bit younger than that. And so it came up for 4 state awards. I was real pleased with that. And Sleeping Bear Press in Ann Arbor published this book.
Oh, wow.
So I was...
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
I have
great.
1 book with them.
So it seems like just over the years you've really, really expanded. I mean, your focus. You have so many books, not only learning but just fun, education, and just it's great to see. And Rhonda, like I said, we're happy to have you on the show, and
thank you.
Happy that you were sharing your wonderful talent and gift with us.
Well, thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, and thanks again to everybody who tuned in. Once again, this is Rhonda Greene. She's a local author right here in West Bloomfield who's written over 24 nationally published books. I'm sure you can find a few at the West Bloomfield Public Library if you're interested. And folks, we just want to say thanks again to her.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks for watching a segment of The Splash. To catch the entire show or other segments, watch us on Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T Channel 99. Or look us up online at thesplash.tv and listen to us on WBLD 89.3, the all-new Lakes FM.